They don't believe when you're heaven sent. They don't believe when you're heaven sent. They don't believe when you're heaven sent. Go read the prophets how the people would not repent. They don't believe.
So I feel that the rabbi, is coming with a perspective, and he's basically telling to you that you have a choice to choose to be what we're calling chosen people or not. And all that everyone's coming back at the rabbi and saying is, whoa, so you guys have this community and you guys think that you're the chosen people and we're not. But what we're trying to communicate is that it's your opportunity. So why do you fight it?
Let me show you this. Here's where the mistake keeps getting made. I'm not interested in being the chosen group because that, by default, would sound like I want to conform or subscribe to your doctrine. Despite the fact that they were forced to be illiterate, and then when they learned how to read, they was told what exactly to read. Despite that fact, we have brothers and sisters today that can actually read. And the brothers and sisters today that are calling themselves Hebrews, which I don't call myself a Hebrew. But the brothers and sisters today that call themselves Hebrews, they are not disillusioned. They are reading things in that book that is intimating that they are the chosen people.
And it shouldn't be overlooked. It's a very serious scenario. Is in Africa. Africa has perhaps hundreds of millions of people with this identity right now of being from the people of Israel.
They are reading things in that book that is giving them the impression that you guys or somebody else are a cursed people.
We were taught by the historians and within our own traditions that when the Romans conquered Judea, a few hundred years after that the tribes of Israel went into exile, perhaps millions of Judeans were sold into slavery.
The only problem is that's not coming out of those books that you guys are reading.
Deep into Africa. And if you look now, you're seeing people who are most likely the descendants of those slaves who kept true.
But there's something going on in that book, and I know my brothers in the community are not tripping. They are reading things about people being cursed. They're reading things about them being God's chosen children.
I like to bring up a few specific examples because they're going to be game changers. One of them wrote letters to Israel when it became a state. And they said, we're Israelites out in Africa.
They're reading things about the illegitimate Jews, or the false or the fake Hebrews, or the ones that are not God's seed.
You know, everyone laughed at them and they said, African Israelites, these people are just trying to jump on the first world country bandwagon.
And how to deal with them. They are not making these things up. My brothers, who I don't oftentimes agree with about certain things, but I'm not going to sit here and act like the brothers in the community that say they are Hebrews just made all this shit up, and you guys got the real perspective, because then what was they reading this whole time?
And everyone kind of laughed at them, like I said, and a few people took it serious and went out there and started studying them, learned about their culture, and a professor from Duke University went out there and did DNA testing on them.
And don't tell me that they are disillusioned. Don't tell me they're not reading about chosen people and cursed seeds.
And he showed not only do they share Semitic genes from people who were in Yemen and back to the Middle East, these gentlemen, a large percent of them, have the Y chromosome to be Kohanim, to be priests. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, a priest is a specific family clan of the nation of Israel who come from Aaron, the brother of Moses, who was the first priest. And anyone descended from Aaron has the status title priest.
But now you come here and no one's cursed. And it doesn't even make a reference to blood. There's no bloodline. There's no lineage. All of that is moot. It's null and void. We're all a human family. Hell no, it doesn't say that in that book.
And we found that these men in this village in South Africa called Lemba, L-E-M-B-A, carry this genetic marker.
So this is a lie. This is where the problem is. So it's not so much that he's coming with a doctrine of peace and love. I don't have a problem with that. It's the fact that he says he's a Jew. It's the fact that he says he makes subscriptions to the Torah. And since he's saying that, the things that he's saying is contradicting the things that are going on within that book.
So everyone kind of got humbled a little bit, who laughed at them and said, now what? Now what do we do about this? This could have tremendous implications. Another area in Africa you have something big happening is in Nigeria. You have the Igbo people, or Igbo, pronounced either way. There's 40 million of them. Also Christians, like I spoke about before, how that could happen to the children of Israel very easily. But also a lot of them are now coming out and converting back or adopting the rules of the Torah without all the paganism that they've been practicing for hundreds of years.
Maybe you don't get this part. This is the part that you got to get. A great deal of the confusion coming in the community is coming out of the religious belief system that you guys subscribe to.
There's been books written about it from scholars in Nigeria, from scholars from the Jewish people. And where it gets interesting is, in America, there was a slave trade. And a lot of the slaves, a very high percentage of them, came from Western Nigerian ports.
Now you get on camera and you are totally oblivious to the sectarian aspect of it, the totalitarian aspect of it, the racial aspect of the doctrine, the cursing of the God, the putting one group of people over another people, and now you sit here and you smile in our faces. You actually are smiling. You are looking like you are in awe, or like you are flabbergasted, like where is this guy coming from and getting this information?
And in America today, you see a very large movement of African Americans who say that they're the real chosen people, that they're the children of Israel, they're the Judeans. You know, so what are they just trying to create an identity for themselves because they were slaves, or is there really something here? And the answer is, most likely there is something there. Racism is an issue in this country. I do appreciate that I am a white man, because when I travel through security in airports, I get a lot of high fives, thumbs up. A cop pulls me over, he asks me if I'm okay. So I understand. Yeah, no. And most likely, maybe that they were the original Israelites, and maybe that the Jewish people today, who are white, Caucasian people, came in a little bit later on. We know that some of the greatest sages of the transmission of the Torah were converts from Rome.